Hello and welcome to Simon Says Artwork. In this video I'm going to be showing you a sculpture that I made, and I made several out of this cheese wax, which is the casing for a soft Edam cheese called Baby Bell. I think it's Edam. And yeah, I started making sculptures out of them. I've made about 5 or so, and I'll show you the progress of one of those and a picture of the others that I made, and yeah, I'll show you how it goes. Alright, let's take a look. Alright, this sculpture project is something which I started for university based on a prompt from a tutor about making an artifact. And initially I'd made something out of these little wax casings from the cheese that I have as snacks, and it was far too large. I'd made a face that was flat on a piece of red plastic, so it looked like it was materializing out of the plastic, which I quite like, but at the same time I needed to make something smaller that could be considered an artifact. And I was inspired by the Proco skull. For anyone who doesn't know what the Proco skull is, it's a model skull replica which is produced by Stan Prokopenko's company, which is called Proco. And that's something which he sells. And when I'd looked it up, it was something that was out of my price range at the time. So I decided to try and make my own using photo references of Kim Jong-il holding the Proco skull. And I just took several screenshots from a video where he was manipulating it in his hands after receiving one. This isn't spot on. It's my first attempt at a skull. I should have done more. Instead, what I did after this was I made several faces and heads. But I do quite like how this skull turned out, so I might try others. It was interesting to try and get an accurate replica of a human skull when my familiarity with the details was still patchy. So I was learning the details and the different aspects of the skull, the different bumps and crevices and just where things sat as I was making this. So it's not something which I was so well versed in, and I don't often draw skulls either. But it was interesting. What I did find is that the wax did start to leave an impression on the surface below, as you can see. So I had to be careful with how I let it sit there. And it was just a case of the warmth of your body temperature in your hands. Just soften the wax enough to be manipulated. And then, depending on how long you let it sit on the surface, it would sometimes just leave a smear of wax on the surface there. But it was still, so you can see little blobs coming off there, but it wasn't too significant to affect it. And I ended up using that stick there, which is, I don't know if it's a cocktail stick or a measuring stick, I'm not too sure. I think I was given it as a measuring stick device for perspective, which I don't really use tools like that, so I just used it instead as a carving tool, and it worked quite nicely. But it was only for the parts which are really intricate, like the teeth, where I was trying to poke in little holes there. So this is where I ended up leaving it, and you can see I tried to get the shape of the cranium and the eye sockets there, and the jaw was quite difficult because it was so small to get a good impression of what the jaw looked like, and the impression of the teeth was quite subtle. But again, I'm forgiving myself for that because it's my first attempt, and I think it's still quite a cool little sculpture. I like how it's shiny. You can see how it's waxy and shiny on the top there. That's why I'm filming the top part, is I like the light reflecting off the top. I think it goes smooth quite nicely there. The eye sockets look a bit like goggles. That's something which I'd like to improve on in the future. But I do quite like getting the gaps for the jaw and the mouth. I think I could do that better again if I try a second time. But for a first attempt, I thought that was quite nice. Okay, so that is the video. I intend on making more of these, but at the moment I'm not too sure about what to make. I've had some ideas, but I'm a bit torn between doing more drawings, a bit of painting, and then the sculpture. So I'm going to try, if I can, to get to all of that and post it on here and share it with you. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a like and leave a comment down below. Subscribe to the channel and ring that bell, and I'll see you in the next video.